Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on HYMC. We love it when the daily, the weekly, and the monthly are all crushing down. Plus, we hate fucking bots and viruses.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check.
Yeah, it is. I'm getting some messages that we are disconnected, and I need to check here.
It's a good start to the stream. Welcome to the stream, guys.
Yeah, I don't know how that quality was, but it says we are back connected now. So let's see. Maybe you can pull up on your end and see if we are live, Dane.
Yeah, no, we're on.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah, good start. But actually, that mirrors a bit my week because I had a little bit of a rough week. I went down a few percentage, but I got it back on Thursday and Friday, which was good days for me. But yeah, we spent some time now before the stream talking about kind of a bit like your strategy, right? It seems to work really well in all kinds of environment.
Yeah, I mean it's just shorter time frames, and it started off literally from just something I read on one of Q's posts, basically saying that, you know, when you're starting to just take small amounts, instead of trying to swing trade, and it just made me think to just, why don't I practice that skill? It's something I've never attempted to do. And I was just saying I've been having my best few weeks that I've had, you know, consistently, at least wise. And this was another week where, you know, it worked well. And obviously I'm still, you know, perfecting and working on things, but it continues to be that if I do transition back to swing trading, the amount of things that I've learned from doing day trades in smaller time periods is really going to help my entrances.
Yeah. And it's a bit funny or interesting because we kind of started to look at the multiple time. I guess we have always done it, but more systematically. We kind of started at the same time without really planning it, right? Because I also started to look at different time frames. I watched some videos about people who use the Anchored Weave app and or just look through multiple time frames, you know, constantly. And we kind of saw the same things going on, I think, in terms of some of the movements. And I know you have done more tracking the intraday chart now than I have, but it's really interesting, I think. And I also think that it has helped my style, and it has given me new setups to look for as well. maybe setups that are more like within the base instead of like a classic breakout base, which can give you a little bit of an extra gain when things go your way, you know?
Yeah, NASCAR was asking what I've been scalping. So hang on a sec, NASCAR. I just wanted to bring up my so yesterday I did Riot. Before that I did HYMC. On the 29th I did Plug. The 28th I did SEI, and on the 27th I did Critical Metals CRML. So each one of those you know, are strong, high ADR stocks. It's kind of like the style that I'm slowly working towards is becoming a mix of all the different things I've learned from swing trading. Like it's essentially I'm using the criteria I would to swing trade, but I'm using that to select the stocks to look for momentum and to use to scalp. And now I've just been working at intraday timings, paying really close attention to when stuff peaks, when to buy, you know, and just averages of these things. And it's been working well. I made I think it was just over 2% for the week on the account. So obviously if I could keep that up every day, that would be, or every week, that would be great.
A good year in the end.
Yeah, for the week I was 2.3% for the week. So which puts me take all for so far for the year I'm up 15%. So it's decent. I mean it's not where, you know, obviously I still got a long ways to go, but where that would be one of my best years if I continue at this rate. So
in a pretty terrible market environment for our
yeah,
style
the first 4
initially.
weeks of that, we were talking about this before that. We, you know, the stock market was plummeting, and that's one of the reasons I tried it too, was because I saw so many things that like were just breaking down after the morning that like I'm like, maybe I should just try doing what Q said, get in and out of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I can pull up the QQQ. I know a lot of people look at the Nasdaq. I know I used to do it. The reason I have QQQ in trading, we use the Nasdaq data is delayed, so I just have it here in the list. It doesn't really matter.
It's close enough.
Yeah. But it looks pretty wild. Still, you had a few days here where you wanted to go back a little bit, but it just looks really strong. We had some earnings now from a lot of companies that they look great. You know, as we talked about SNDK, Dane, just doesn't want to stop. This stock is, and look at the linear move. It's just on the 10-day simple moving average for most of the uptrend, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And on Friday, up another 8%, now worth well over $1,000 per share. We saw Intel earlier. They had yeah, they had a strong report and gapped up on that. BE, I think, did well, right? BE was another one.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of strong earnings, and yeah, I do you see things slowing down? At some point it has to,
I
right?
wouldn't say slowing down. I mean, maybe not quite as parabolic, but I will say the way you zoomed in on that chart does make that look more parabolic.
Yeah.
I try to zoom out at least to a year when I look, just so it doesn't. But yeah, I mean your chart right there, that makes it look straight up. But
on my auto thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess more just in general NASCAR. Like we talked about it a few times on the streams, but I still have been looking at some biotech because they're always in the mix. But most of it is either computers or semis, and then a lot of it's like either mining or the component part of that. So like I see a lot of those doing well, like some of the rare mineral or materials that, you know, have to be used in all these different electronics. And then the last thing that that I know Johnny's been following too a lot is I'm not trading Bitcoin, but some of the offshoots of that.
Yeah. So
those are the
MicroStrategy,
big
Riot.
markets I see.
Yeah. There's a lot of these miners who have done well. You said you were doing a riot, right, in one of your trades?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah. You know, hot looks pretty good in my opinion right here. Riot, they all look the same. So Luna was one I missed. I missed a big move in it this week. Bit annoying, but that's how it is. Galaxy looks good, I think. I was in MicroStrategy and I sold out when it started to pull back a little bit because I also saw I didn't like a lot of the cryptos, but after that it has turned back a little bit. But they have earnings now in 3 days, so it looks good right here, I think. But I'm not gonna do anything when earnings is so close. Look at Bitcoin also. If you look at the Bitcoin chart, Dane.
I was just pulling it up actually. Now you said it.
Looks like something can happen, you know.
Yeah, I tend to I tend to watch the Bitcoin chart on the weekends just because it's one of the few things you can kind of keep an eye on for the weekend.
Yeah. So
Couple big spots maybe you can watch, but the rest of the
Yeah.
time, not that I need the weekend to be consumed by the markets any more than the rest of my week is.
I think no, you have a lot of strength still. We talked about the semiconductor space, and in Finvis they also group. They have another group called semiconductor equipment and material. So it's just like a lot of them. You know, they look really strong.
Yeah, that's a good little industry.
Yeah. And I also had a good earnings and popped up 20% yesterday again.
Yeah, I see you got Adam on there too. Adam's been murdering it.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And if you go up here, you have all the other ones. You know, Laser, TSEM. Talked about Intel, Marvel. They all look crazy strong, I think.
That's what I'm saying. That whole sector. I mean, just focus on those stocks. The chance of you scalping well on any day in any given one of those stocks,
Yeah,
it's pretty high.
yeah. And you have the, of course, Nvidia. You know, and Nvidia pulled back a little bit. What is the ETF for semis? SMH looks good. You know, it's no, it's a strong group, and it's never bad when these type of stocks are leading in a market, I think, right?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about miners as well. I saw the uranium group are also setting up a little bit right now.
NASCAR is saying that he follows Ross Cameron. He's the guy from Warrior Trader.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was saying Lance B put together a very articulate video explaining how traders are piggybacking off Ross's trades. Without this piggybacking, Ross could very well be a losing / break-even trader.
I saw that video was posted, but I didn't see it myself.
Yeah, I think I did see it as well. I didn't watch it either just because but I do know who Warrior Trader is. I've watched some of his stuff. Seems like an interesting person. I know there were some legal things that was a little bit questionable with him, but yeah. I don't know how that all turned out. So it could all just be bullshit. So don't take that as like a knock against the guy. Obviously he's successful, so he's doing something right. But Are you saying, NASCAR, that because people are just trading exactly what he does, he benefits from everyone, buying right after he does? Is that what the problem is?
I don't know much about him, but maybe he has like a alert service and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I know he offers like a school, like you can pay for him to like try and train you, but NASCAR is basically saying that he might only be profitable because thousands of traders are trying to copy you, essentially, is what my guess is that he's saying.
Yeah. But I don't know, you can say that about a lot of value investors as well, that put out their positions and then they sell straight after and stuff like that. It's also part of the game.
Yeah, NASCAR is saying it can become disheartening because that strategy might not truly be real. It might just be an effect of the market.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you,
No,
you have to take that into consideration. NASCAR, what works, and if enough people follow someone and he's essentially profiting from the fact that he has headwinds from his traders following his moves, it kind of is what it is. And I mean, you can go all the
I
way
think
back to the original stock market, and the reason, I don't know if you've ever looked at the history of the stock market, but it's pretty interesting when you go all the way back to the very start. Essentially, one dude would stand on the corner and scream out prices for things, and everyone would just rush up to him and try and buy these things. And the idea was, the closer you are to where that's happening, the better off people were doing, because you would see the noise. Like, back then there was no way to measure it. You just either were in the market buying and selling those things, or you weren't. And the further away from that, the worse people did. So that's why when people buy, like things so quickly, and they buy and they sell rumors, the reason why that's always stood, because even when the stock market initially started and it wasn't really a market, the closer you were to the action, just the better off you were.
yeah.
So news like that is just always ingrained into things, because people, the faster you can get the news, the more of an edge you have.
I also think unless you're a complete scam, I think that's different. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know. I don't know anything about him, but in general, like these people have also gotten to their position, in some way. And if I give him or everyone the benefit of the doubt, like, you have to give them some credit to get that audience to start to be able to use it to their, benefit.
Right.
But if it's and maybe he changed the strategy then when he realized that he could benefit from having that pull in the audience. I don't know. But you also, it's not for everyone to get that type of audience. You have to do something correct, I think, unless it's like a complete scam. That's something very different.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue like RK. I mean, he essentially did the same thing with GME. Would GME have been as parabolic and as big of a deal as it was if RK wasn't one of the catalysts to get that going? Without him streaming and without him posting that he had that huge options position, would
But also
anyone have even cared?
Also, the comeback stream.
Right.
That was 100% beneficial for him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get that that's frustrating, but I mean, it's like to Johnny's point, like if Michael Burry goes on CNBC and says, I buy this, that's going to go up probably,
Yeah.
and it's not. That's why like Buffett and those guys were so hesitant at times to say certain things. That's why the Federal Reserve can't even come out and like give a quote, because people will react to it. I mean, look at Trump. Trump comes out and says, buy, and the markets go up.
He literally said buy as well. No, but I understand, like, if it's some leader in a strategy that you want to learn from and develop skills from, and then you find out years later or whatever it is that it won't work because he's actually just benefiting from having followers, that's disappointing, of course. I totally understand. And I don't think that you should teach in that way if you are aware that that's your actual strategy. I think that's very dishonest and unethical.
And NASCAR is saying he started trading in 2012 and he only started proving profitability in 2017, had 5 years to build his audience before he could prove he made money, which that's a pretty normal time frame to start making money anyways. Prior to 2012, he had said he was a break-even trader for around a decade. Which, I mean, what does break-even mean? Break-even means,
Probably
you could
that
be taking
probably
losses.
that you lost.
Yeah, like I don't know what that even means, especially for a decade. That just goes to show you. I mean, this guy traded for 10 years before, anything even really started to happen for him. So I don't know. Maybe that is legit. I don't know, but to be honest, if all his traders in his group are just copying his trades, like, first off, you take a huge risk doing that, and second off, you know, I would say more power to him, because if that's your strategy as a trader, like, good luck, because market things change, not everything lasts. Like, what if you're going to sit there and just copy his trades and learn essentially nothing by doing that, what was when Ross one day goes away?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder then if, like I said, I've not watched any video. I watched some parts of the video because he had a tutorial on how to use the broker that I'm doing now and the platform and everything. So I have watched some videos. I know who the guy is. But I have to question then if he teaches in a way that, like I said, I don't know if this is true or not, but if he teaches in a way that people automatically just copy his trades in live time, like you said, if he's gone, then who are you going to copy? Like, what are you left with in terms of knowledge?
Yeah, I would just say
I think you and I, Dane, we have talked since we did the deep value style how important it also is to create call it a portfolio with people you follow that you can lean into in terms of how trustworthy their opinions or analysis are. And I think now over the years, I have a pretty good list of people that I can believe are real, and that doesn't mean that I copy them, but I try to learn from them.
Yeah, and that's what I would say too. I mean, I think when I discovered Warrior Trader, because there was a time period where I was watching some of his stuff, and I get to a point where I think I can learn certain things from someone, and then once I get to kind of like where I'm like, all right, I don't really feel like I'm getting much from this, and not to say that they didn't give me something important. It's just, I'm looking for all these different pieces of things, and like Lance B, for instance, and he's saying to just watch the end of Lance's video. He goes over it in good detail. But but like Lance is someone that like I probably could listen to almost daily and pick up things. So he continues to be someone I really follow. Same with Q, same with Ariel, same with, just a mix of different people. So it's tough to say, but that's to someone's own detriment. If you don't take the time to put your own reps in, Johnny and I
I've heard like there's some question marks about him for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a red flag that you should. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not trying to. It's just like how I'm thinking when I follow people, and I know that there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of bullshit online. If you look at the streams from Kulamagi, he calls out people as well. That are.
I was actually just saying that. You remind me of when he called out Minervini, because I think at one point he said that he should have even more money, but it just depends on your style. I mean, if Minervini is able to the point where, let's say, I don't know what he has, but let's say he's got $30 million or something in that range. I mean, that's still incredibly impressive. Now, just because Q is able to get to 200 million with his exact style, that doesn't mean I knock Minervini for not being able to continue to improve. I mean, these are small nuances, that these guys have. And I mean, who cares? At some point, you've made it.
Yeah. A detail also in terms of maybe the clash in styles there is that Kulamagi also have admitted that he gave a big portion of his money away, and probably he has now made it back. I don't know. We're going to see in the Market Wizard book coming in June, right, Dane?
Yes, I keep forgetting about that. That is coming right up now. Now it's May.
Yeah. Kulamagi will be included in that book for everyone who is interested. That's the most exciting book I've been waiting for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I'll probably read that in a day.
And also
I've been
that
waiting for that book to-
the short bear is also included there. I think. I think his name is
He's another.
Lucas.
He's another. One that I think just constantly is thrown out in like little tidbits. It's just good people to follow.
Yeah, he just comes across as a super smart guy that has his I read all the posts that he posts, and I don't understand them sometimes, but I still understand what he's talking about, but I don't fully understand the depth that he posts. But that will be a very interesting read in that book, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess just to a bigger point, NASCAR is to each their own. I mean, you got to learn. Like everyone's at different points too. Like certain people are going to learn a lot from someone, and certain people are going to learn nothing from someone. So it just depends on what you find valuable. And if you're watching Warrior Trading and you start making money, and more power to you.
I have to say, in terms of the way I was learning or is learning swing trading, I've found like some people that you learn the basic from and what to look for, and then you go more into depth from what they are saying and take notes and stuff like that, But after you reach a certain point, I'm no expert, so I'm not trying to say that I'm an expert or anything. But after you reach a certain point in terms of how much books you have read and streams you have watched and all that stuff, the best learning I get is from when I do my own work, my own studies, and my own build my own databases and track the numbers on everything and stuff, and then I can sit and watch the numbers and try to look for new patterns that are unique to me or my style. I think it's always important to adapt everything you learn to what fits your style.
Yeah, and it kind of takes like that experience to get you to where you are. I had said that if it hadn't been for BNED and me taking the hit with BNED, I probably would be still doing that deep value style where I was putting an insane amount into a few stocks, and that had worked, but until it didn't. So that's what brought me down this whole risk aversion type of style.
And I think if you and I had made it on BNED, we would feel like kings.
Yeah, and
which would be dangerous long term.
Yeah, no, it's just you're just waiting for a mistake to happen, which is why all those guys say that, like, most people will say if you're going to sit in a stock overnight, like make sure it's no more than like 30% of your account, because you just never know. And I'm sure there's a lot of little ideas in those kind of things that'll hold true, and you should really think those carefully through when you're assessing risk. But I mean, no matter what, the biggest thing in investing I find is, or trading for that matter, is just to make sure that you start to come up with a strategy where you're just at least not losing a ton of money. I'm not saying that you're always going to be up, but if you can find something that starts to work, that's a good base point to start to really build something off of, is getting to a point where you're just not negative. If you can get there, you probably can start to improve where you can get to the point and start making good money. But until you can get to that point, it's tough.
Yeah.
A lot of people start with, $50,000 accounts, and they think they're going to come off as this big trader, and $50,000 can go real quick if you don't know what you're doing.
The most important part in that stage is to not blow up your account.
Yes.
Yeah. Just stay alive. Understand when you should slow down a bit. Yeah. No, it sucks that he, maybe you can call it like being found out a little bit. If he has talked about himself and given off another impression, I think that sucks. But yeah, I remember you were here earlier, NASCAR, and it seemed like you had very good knowledge of your field. So I hope you can. I hope you will still continue, because I thought what you said back then made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and he said too that he's following the Ross Cameron trading style. I'm not sure exactly what Ross does. I feel like if I remember, he traded pre-market or something. But that was I watched one of his series where he tries to blow an account up. Like he starts with like a couple $100 or I don't even know, 1,000 or whatever it was, and tries to make it into like 1,000,000 or something. Which I know he has multiple videos saying that he's doing that. So if it's true, good for him. But otherwise, you know, I would just argue, you know, it's good to watch people, but I would never argue to copy. I just don't think you're gonna find your edge doing that.
Yeah, but maybe to get experience and see how it looks, but then you need to develop and figure out how you want to do it.
Like for instance, we're a great example of don't copy us. Because so far it's been a bumpy road.
Yeah.
At least for me. I mean, don't get me wrong,
No,
I'm
for
doing
me
okay, but I'm still doing damage control from my big mistakes. So
No,
once I
same
get
here.
back up above that number and I can start pushing from there, then sure, you can have a little respect.
I
for me.
would
But
still
until
not
then,
copy us, Dane. I would still not copy us.
well, yeah, never do what I'm doing.
No.
I don't know what I'm doing.
But also in like that's part of our stream though. We want to show the process, right? And we didn't imagine that we're gonna go into this direction, I think, when we started. But also I think also we are good examples in terms of we build out the Roaring Kitty sheets, and you can say that we copied his style, but both of us had a ton of variations that we put on in the sheets and that we like to look for, but it was heavily based on Roaring Kitty. You know, don't you agree
Yeah.
with that, Dane?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that was the leap point for me is figuring out and a big part of it too is that was when I was first learning everything about finance too. So
Yeah,
it was also a
same.
great jump point for me just to understand markets and learn how finance works. And it totally changed my perspective on the world.
Yeah. No, same here. So NASCAR
Um,
is saying the frustration it's not scalable. I can't take 10K position in a risky small cap stock like Ross because I don't get instant liquidity spikes. I potentially just get stuck in the spread. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, and NASCAR to the point of that, I used to play a lot in small cap stuff. And I don't know quite what you mean by risky small cap. I don't know how small you mean, but at least nowadays, just from following like what Pradeep and some of these other guys say in terms of how much, you know, I'm making sure there's a certain volume. I'm making sure that the liquidity exists, you know, high ADR stuff from like Q saying, I found those are the ones where, you know, I can get in with a relatively decent position size and I don't feel like there's, you know, I see when I put in my buy, you know, I'm hoping it triggers right away, or a lot of times I'm just using market because it's so quick. I got to be in and out. I can't sit there and wait for a limit to hit or a stop loss to trigger. But with that being said, when I'm looking at the orders coming in, there's people, you know, way bigger than me putting buys in when I am, you know, so I am not anywhere near like the size that some people are when they're buying and selling at the same time. So as long as I see that, like if I'm going to buy 1,000 shares of something and all of a sudden 2 seconds later, I see someone buy 20,000 shares, I'm like, all right, this is good. I am,
Yeah.
you know, I am in the mix with much bigger accounts than me. So,
But
you know,
NASCAR maybe you know it's we talked about Ariel Hernandez Dane before the stream.
Mhm.
A lot of these people that we also follow that I think are good people to follow, they started as day traders as well, and also realized a little bit that maybe this is not so scalable that I thought initially. And then they started to do swing trading instead. So maybe those are people you can jump over to if you want some names to to develop into swing trading, something like that. I don't know if you are aware about these from before, but there's heaps of successful swing traders that started like day traders.
Well, I
Kulamagi,
think
one of them.
NASCAR might have been the person who introduced me to Q.
Yeah.
Someone, I can't remember, one of the people in the chat was like, hey, have you ever looked at him for swing trading? And that's what triggered me looking into swing trading.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're probably aware than NASCAR.
But either way, I heard, like I hear Q made, his first million day trading. So I'm like, all right, well, either easily you can work up to 1 million doing this. You know what I mean?
I think should go through some stocks, Dane.
Yeah.
These are my positions right now. I have tried open on multiple occasions the last 2 weeks, and I finally got the position to stick. But I might get stopped out. The cushion are not so big here. I think I'm up 4% something on it. But I think this is building a very big long base here, and now it has a little bit of a momentum and going sideways. Is resting on some of the key moving averages, and I want it to break out properly here. So it's an early entry for me. I use the anchored VWAP here. This is the anchored VWAP line to I used this one on this one, and I bought on a pullback here. This was a pullback buy.
Which line is VWAP or your anchored VWAP?
I used the anchored VWAP on this candle right here.
Okay.
Which was one of the lows, on the last base here. I
Gotcha.
could have used this one. Sometimes I just use and I see if it matches a lot of the candles, And you see this one was resting on it. This one was resting on it. A lot of the things you see all the way here is finding support on it. So sometimes that's just how I have done it. And this one touched it almost, and I managed to take it here. But, these are some wide candles sometimes, so I kind of expect, I understand that there's a high risk of me getting stopped out here. But if I'm correct here, and it does break out at some point, and by the way, I see a lot of, I made some I don't know what to call it even, but I made some stuff with AI, to help me scan and to help me screen for things. And one of them is to try to spot like identical charts in groups across sectors. And when I run that program, a lot of like housing and construction themes have performed good recently, and open is, in that space. So maybe there's some momentum going on in the entire field there right now. So yeah, that's my reasoning for being interested in it. And if you look at the weekly, it looks like you can break out properly here. So just a chance to take. Then I've done UAMY. I took UAMY on a classic breakout here on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been a good. If you have watched the streams, you have seen that UAMY has been in the list for quite some time now. And we were talking before, Dane, that we think that a lot of the metals and mining are good candidates right now.
Yeah, no, that sector is interesting.
Another one was LAC, almost the same chart, right?
Yeah.
Also did break out there. You tried also HYMC, right?
Yes, which I I got burnt on, and then I retraded it and made my money back. So yeah, I'll take
it. I took that one here on Friday, yesterday, and it was based on this candle here. I thought this was a pretty tight candle, and when it started to go above this previous candle, I just took a position and I put the low of day as a stop, and it went good, at least on Friday. But this one, this one tends to shake people out as well. So let's see. And the last one I took on Friday also was GME. it was a
Yeah,
bit
which
of a
we haven't really even talked about yet. There's some news there.
yeah. There's some at least some rumors. Like I think it was well known that Ryan Cohen has been looking for. They put out some information that they are looking for a acquisition, right? And people have started to speculate which company they are having their eyes on. And I think BBBY was one of the stocks being mentioned or companies being mentioned. But now there's a Wall Street Journal article that say they want to buy eBay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm
if,
seeing is eBay all over the place, which both
Yeah.
the stocks jumped on that news too.
yeah. So if this is true, I have a lot of questions. That's the first part. Like it seems it should be the other way around, right?
Yes,
Um,
I'm trying to figure out liquidity wise how GME could buy even a 51% stake because they're about a fourth the size market cap of eBay. So I don't know how, and mind you, both of them are jumping now in price.
Yeah, they
So
are.
I don't quite know how they'll do that. But Burry's involved right now.
Burry's
You
involved,
said
Justin is involved again, and
Justin's
Burry has a
involved
big
again.
position.
Who
There's all
knows?
kinds
The
of
cat himself could pop back out.
yeah. If you go to X or Twitter, you see Cassandra and Shane. That's Burry.
Yeah.
He said GMA and eBay makes perfect sense. I know if you follow Burry on Substack, he has written about GME on a couple of occasions, I think. You see Justin is all over. He asked like what was causing the Friday move earlier. And then he also found out the news, of course. But then he pointed to this guy as well, who has written some articles about GME and eBay as a potential acquisition. So I need to read through these things, but I bought purely based on the chart, and I saw it was clearly breaking out here, and then I zoomed back. I don't know if you can do this, but it's a gigantic base here from 2024, and I just saw on the monthly, on the I'm in the weekly and the monthly. It looked good on all time frames, so I just jumped in. And when GME starts to move, I want to get involved.
I just don't understand how this works. I'm trying to wrap my head around. And don't get me wrong, I'm an idiot at times with this, but I just trying to figure out how in the world they would buy them without someone's going to get screwed in this, if you ask me. But I also just read that part of Cohen's package is if he can get the market cap of GameStop up to 100 billion, he could benefit by making 35 billion in stock compensation. So there's a huge incentive for Ryan Cohen to do this.
And maybe this will tank on Monday, on some, I don't know. But yeah, I bought it a bit late. Of course, normally maybe I don't do this, like it's a pretty extended candle. But it's GME as well.
But I mean, I'm looking after hours. eBay's up almost 12%, which puts it at all-time highs from this.
Yeah, and if you look at the eBay chart as well, since it had earnings also though. Yeah, I don't know, Dane.
Yeah, you should have done this in October. Stock was worth $38.
Yeah.
And then they could have actually really legitimately bought it.
It's we just need to see what happens. But I'm gonna read up on all the stuff here, I think, later today, because it could potentially be a gigantic move again. And I have to say though, the last reported short interest was 15%. So
I bet it's zero on Monday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be short this company right now, at least. and huge spike in volume. 318 in R volume I had. Yeah, so that's the positions I currently have. I tried to do Galaxy also on Friday. I got stopped on it. And what was the last one I tried? Soluna. Which I just got stopped on that one too. This was like an intraday chart thing that I was trying to take, and it's a bit annoying because the day before I was looking at it, and because I had a terrible Tuesday and Wednesday, I didn't dare to take it, but I had my finger on the buy button, and then of course it jumped up a lot that day. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes. I think in terms of what I'm looking for this coming week is CRML. I kind of like where this is heading right now. I know you traded this as well on Monday, probably, then.
Yes.
And I saw... actually, I think there's a lot of interesting stocks here now. PL was another one that I saw. I think if PL just starts the day positive, it would be interesting to watch it.
Yeah, it's on my list of stuff.
Yeah. Bull was another one I added on my daily watch list. HYMC, VICR, IONQ. I think IONQ looks like the strongest name in the quantum computing space of the group, you know. But I'm a bit hesitant right now because they earnings is coming up, so it could develop into a EP, you know.
Right.
Hot, another one, same problem with the earnings. I think SLS looks good. Looks pretty good right here, I think. But same, earnings is coming up, so I'm not going to touch it this coming week. So yeah, I think those are my focus list coming into the next week.
Yeah, I wonder. I know most people say not to hold through earnings, but in some of these strong sectors where people are just murdering it in terms of earnings, it almost makes me wonder: is there some kind of advantage to if you see a sector where, let's say, every stock, every time it hits, like everything's hitting its earnings, should you push it and hold through?
I would at least trim. I just pull up TER then as an example. Yeah. Semiconductor space, they had earnings here and it just plummet. But it's coming back though. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you're probably right no matter what, just to trim beforehand.
Yeah, this is also a very clean chart. Look at this. Super clean. So,
and even right there, I mean, it's that before that last jump up, where it pulled back to here right now is right in line with that support.
Yeah. So still probably bullish, right? But on that day on the earnings, it sucks.
Yeah.
Because like you said, this is maybe a group or a sector where you believe that they will all crush the earnings now because of their peers, But I did see. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Just trying to think, like when would be the best place to buy on some of these, because the other argument would be is to always just buy after earnings, and either you might miss that initial move, but also if there is a pullback and you're interested still, you might be able to buy in that pullback pretty well.
But if you look at, for example, Intel then INTC. If you try it on EP and you just put the stop at low day, it still works, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's, pretty. Yeah. His EP strategy made a lot of sense to me always, because If you just let that low a day form and then you get in, I mean, you can take a pretty large position size in something that has a ton of momentum.
Yeah, and this is proven. You know, if you just look also at the switch in volume since here, perhaps around the earnings times.
Yeah.
But you know, that would be a quick 20% gain. If you have done that. The problem is, of course, to get a good entry so the stop doesn't get too wide. But there are different techniques you can use. You don't have to use the low day as a stop, but I prefer to do that whenever I can. Which then, if I'm too late or time it wrong, I can't enter something like this, you know.
Right.
But I also saw there's just a ton. These look so strong. But I did saw some other names that looks Alto, by the way. 543 now.
What do you think about Wolf here?
With a U or O?
Well, both, but the O specifically.
Yeah. No, I saw it. But they also have earnings on Tuesday or something.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
they broke out officially here.
Yeah. In my, like I told you before, like in my chart, for some reason I don't have the full chart, so can't see it too much. But definitely has momentum, right?
I mean, volume was double the 20 EMA that I have.
Yeah. Up 154% from the low there before the move started. It's a bit extended here. If I was in this right now and I know earnings is coming up, I would definitely trim and just stick with a smaller position size through earnings. But if you're up 150% already, or wherever you took it from, you can afford to get smashed a bit.
Yeah, even that first day of the move, if you had been holding from there, it's 80% around is what I get.
Yeah. But even here the day before, like Thursday, that's up 34%, you know?
Yeah.
So if you trim, like if you deal with 1/3 of the position left or something through earnings, I think you can handle that. I'm trying to look at another name here that I saw in my scans. I did like Snapchat, but I think it broke out on Friday, and also earnings are coming up, so I'm not interested in it right now. Remember I told you I sold the Nokia?
Yeah.
I regret it. It did move up. I sold it for a break even.
Well, I haven't even looked at that chart. That thing has just been skyrocketing.
Yeah, it's a strong name.
What is Nokia doing that they're worth $74 billion? Is it?
And they had some.
I just know nothing about I mean, I remember Nokia used to be like a phone company.
Yeah. I don't remember what they talked about right now, but
are they in like
AI infrastructure? Huh?
Are they in the infrastructure side now?
Yeah, AI infrastructure, it says, but yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah, all right.
Just to put AI in the business description and this happened.
I mean, it's a plan.
I thought Carvana could spike up and maybe become a leader again, but it did turn back.
Oh my God.
And then I saw Coco Dane, the Vita Coco company, killed it on earnings.
That's another some of these companies I haven't been looking at.
Yeah. I couldn't find now the one I was. Yeah, Band was it? This one. Did you see Band? BAND? Software infrastructure.
What are the ADRs on these stocks? I'm surprised some of these aren't in my list, so I don't know why.
In this one, it's 679, at least from my calculations here. I'm using like 20-day.
Maybe they are on my list. Is Band on my list? It's pretty bad. I don't. No, I don't have it on there. So something's missing with Band. Maybe it will become on because it looks like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, because it's just moving in the last week, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, but look at the chart though. Like it went up like 50% here and got very, very tight into the moving average, and then of course it had earnings. But a good example of when it could be beneficial to just trim and hold through it, because it looks
this is one of the ones that work.
it looks very crazy here, you know.
But also another thing, like we were talking, if you had bought after it jumped, it would have worked for you.
Yeah, it would still work, and who knows, maybe gaps up again on Monday. Something is really good on this earnings report that they gave.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive chart.
Yeah, and also
I'm
the entire.
I'm assuming the dollar volume. I know it's been super high the past, but it might be that it was below my threshold.
I have it at 26 million average dollar.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but I always look at things. I don't care if it's had a day or two. I want something that consistently has an incredible amount of volume going on. Those are the only stocks I look at.
Yeah, maybe that's why it was too small. Something.
I'm not taking the risk of buying like a quick term move. I want something that's at least been, if I looked at 20 days, it should be trading, decently in volume for that 20-day period.
Yeah. But look at this group though, or this industry here, software infrastructure. You have Band, you have FIVN, that also gets like a big jump on earnings, just gaps through the 200-day moving average. Then you have Twilio, who does something similar. They are all up between 20 and 30% on Friday.
Yeah, you're right.
Fastly,
These are incredible moves.
Yeah, they are very strong. And BlackBerry before, and then you have the Nokia as well, and some of these charts are looking really good, but I guess you have to take them on like a EP, because they or you buy now and hold through the earnings.
So is it the assistance of AI and my question is just like why are all these ones going up so much? It's all just AI attached into these systems because of the money it will save.
I will look at the reports here. They increased their full year outlook on the earnings, and guidance reflect accelerating AI driven enterprise adoption. Yeah. So I guess that's the key point. Nashkar is saying so many small cap stocks that run in the pre-market are breaking down after bell. The bid intraday runners have been midday moves.
Yeah, NASCAR. I actually was talking to Johnny about that before. I was laughing because I was saying so far from what I've seen, you actually would short the best pre-market movers because they just seem to tank. The ones that look decent pre-market, they just totally get dropped as soon as the market opens. So I have not been. I peek at the pre-market just to have an idea if there's any name that I should be paying attention to. But in general, I just wait till the market opens before I start thinking of what I'm going to take that day. I have not been able to take pre-market successfully.
On those situations, the pullback buy can be a good strategy.
Yeah,
for sure. If you know what you're doing. Um, I was gonna look at the oil chart then, because we have talked a lot about the how it's like the opposite to the market right now. But oil was coming back, right?
Yeah, I mean, certain charts like WTI still look super strong to me.
Yeah. And you, I think par is in that section. You have pump
Yeah,
that made a good move, but dropped on earnings. But my point was, in that time where the oil chart started to come back, I know you said you found a few oil companies in your scans, but I did actually. I was a bit surprised that I didn't find more good looking charts in that field. But I might have missed something.
I was gonna say that day that I saw them all, it was a one day, and there's probably like 8 or 9 companies that stood out to me, and that's why I was like, wow. I was hesitant that next morning, which was the exact wrong thing, because the markets just flung that next day. But it made me hesitant because I saw like 8 or 9 different companies have a strong day in oil, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Everything's gonna slow back down. And then no, those just all the next day all just pulled back, and
all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, boom, like just a couple of the Mag 7 had excellent earnings, and then the AI and the semi whole industry just exploded.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing a huge cycle into that right now, because the amount and potential savings from AI, and this is where I actually think you're going to see some of the headwinds from AI actually perform. And I think that's where, in a lot of different companies, there's a lot of different positions that, no offense, AI could do a lot of the work for you. I'm not saying it could take all of the jobs away, but I just think like the average person's productivity is going to go up so much from being able to use AI in terms of like saving time. And, where one thing might have taken a team of 3 or 4 people working on it for a week, one person can probably do that with an AI in half the time. So I just see some of these companies, like if you can save it, like if you can take your workforce and shrink it down by a third or even half, the headwinds from that for some of these companies upside is massive. So that's what I think we're going to see. And now we're starting to see that. So now I think that's why I think this AI bit is just pushing everything up, because and this won't go on forever. And I don't really see where some people say AI is going to just totally take over everything. To a degree it will, but not, I still don't see it quite like everyone thinks it will. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not building and coding these things. I don't know where it's going. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's room on the runway.
Yeah, but we spent some time on another stream talking about our thoughts about that, and I think we are very aligned in our thinking, because I've used it a lot now to code things, and it's great. It's fantastic. I'm doing things I would never be able to do if I didn't have it. But then at the same time, going through everything and just trying to prompt it correctly and set it up to be intelligent, it's a constant struggle to, guide it away from the average answer that it's being taught to give you.
Yeah.
So it really quickly becomes very frustrating. And I have adapted like my own models and documents that I upload to them in terms of how they should answer and behave, so they are a bit more efficient and all that. But it's still like it always, the big point for me is how it constantly fails to connect the dots because of the lack of memory it has. And then on top of everything, now I'm using Gemini, and I've been using a few different ones. And on top of everything now, what is super annoying is the limitations Google are putting on Gemini usage, even for pro subscribers. because if you use it a certain amount within an hour, you get a 4-hour cooldown before you can continue to use the pro model. And if you use it a certain amount within a space of 4 hours, you get the same type of cooldown. So you have to wait 4 hours or whatever it is for them to open it up to you again, which is super annoying. And at least, especially when you pay for something, you know.
This is Gemini?
This is Gemini.
Wow.
I understand why they do it, but I start to then think, because they do it because they want to have the experience great for anyone who uses it, free members, paid members, anyone. So they have to save the data power of the entire workload, you know.
Mhm.
But my question then, and my thinking then, if this is a limitation to that degree now, because sometimes I can only ask it like 20 messages and I've used up the quota, you know, which
Yeah,
is
that's a
pretty unacceptable
yeah.
when you ask me, when I am a paying member. And I'm just starting then to think, how can, when AI is just getting more and more integrated in our lives and the world, how can they ever overcome this type of issue? That's where I start to see, like, I think it will flatten out a bit, you know.
Yeah.
That's my
Um,
biggest critique of it right now.
Yeah, I have ChatGPT still, and I don't have any cooldowns I've ever ran into.
Yeah,
But
no, I used to use it. I jumped over to Gemini a little bit because I have a Google phone as well, and
yeah, I remember you
I
saying.
love their they have a notebook LM where you can upload things, and they create a podcast that you can, if you have a microphone, you can ask it questions, and you know, it goes into, it can deflect from the topic, and you can go in different directions, and then it goes back to it. I thought that was really cool, and I tried it on some topics that I had good knowledge about, and I thought, I was impressed. I thought it was great. So I thought, like, Google is on top of the game here. But then I started to use Gemini. I've been a bit disappointed in terms of what I just said, and I have started to think if I should move back to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I have, I have Gemini, like, you can use it on your phone. And
Yeah.
I just have never been as impressed with the answers. It's fine, but it curbs things in a way that, like, sometimes I'm like, I just want an answer and I don't want it to. And granted, if I had probably like you said, if I had the paying version and I was prompting it properly, it might work differently. I've learned to use Gemini on my phone now for more like just quick questions, not like
Yeah.
anything in depth. Like I really want to. I think of it more of just like for quick insight on something.
Information,
I don't, if I don't need real detail.
Yeah.
But I also, like I said, in fairness, with ChatGPT, I'm sitting down and really going through something. But the one thing I've been trying to do with it is, we were talking about coding. Like when I'm building something or working on something, instead of having it build it for me, a lot of times I'm building it myself. And then what I'll do is I'll just ask it small questions I have. And that way I'm still kind of learning it myself as opposed to letting it do the work.
Yeah.
I'm more of just like, how would I do this? Like I have this, can you show me how I can change it? Which, I don't want to lose the skill sets by letting it do too much of the work. So I think it's important in the way I'm using it to continue to learn from it and not let it, replace what I'm doing. Because the other thing too is sometimes it's and part of that just came from just use. I'd ask it to do something and I'm like, wow, look what it can do. And then I ask it to do something else and it like just gives me garbage.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. So
It is
I'm at a
time
point
consuming.
now where I really don't have it build things for me. I do it myself and then just use it to improve on it.
Yeah. And if like I think you said it, like at some point they're probably gonna start with ads.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's when I'll stop using it.
Well,
I'm done.
Also right now, if you like you said, ask it something that you can use is very useful, and then you dig dig a bit deeper and you follow up on a question and give you garbage, and then you have to like maybe not argue with it, but you have to kind of guide it to give you the answer you or like to the question you were really asking. And then they have put a limitation of the amount of messages you can use, so you use up your quota really quick, you know, on stupid things.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, right now, I think for the price, because I have like the basic plan, I think it's like 20 a month or whatever for ChatGPT. For what it does and how often I can use it, and you know, blah blah, it's worth it. Now, don't get me wrong, like you said too, if that price gets, you know, too high, and or they start throwing ads in and stuff like that, and it's giving me dumb answers, that's a quick way to make me never use your platform again.
Yeah, because most people are not paying for it, which is the big concern when people talk about these companies and the capex, you know, in terms of what it can generate for income, because a lot of people are not paying for the pro versions, because a lot of people use it, like you said, you use Gemini just for quick answers and information on questions you have there and then, and that's enough.
Yeah,
and
NASCAR saying he wanted it to list every Vegas casino, and it basically ignored a bunch of small casinos that have existed, and that's part of the issue. Like, you know, like when you prompt it, the way it can do things, and like, it is annoying that you're like, no, like, I want you to include every single one, like go through, find all the small, like, you almost have to say that, and sometimes it's like it's annoying, but you kind of learn, you know, how to use them. But prompting's huge.
It's but even if you prompt it correctly, it's still stupid at some point, you know.
Yeah, because it's just a program. I know everyone thinks this thing's so smart, but it's just a program.
Yeah.
it's not truly smart. It's actually relatively dumb at times.
Yeah, it really is, and it has certain fields also that it just plain out sucks in, you know.
Yes.
No, but at the same time, amazing, you know. I've been creating my own kind of AI to help me be more efficient with everything I track, and it can take a snapshot of my screen and it can tell me how big the base is, you know, volume, contraction, a lot of the things that I'm looking at. It can group it together with similar stocks in the same group. It gives me like some catalysts, just quick information with a click of a button.
Yeah,
it's amazing also, but it's also stupid. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I've had an ongoing one with it because, you know, one of the stocks that you and I have talked about for a while on the stream is NBA, and they're doing I believe it's a vote now on the redomicile to the U.S., which is that's like the catalyst. I'm kind of waiting. I've kind of taken my eyes off the stock, but I do keep the news on. But I had an AI chat where every time like a piece of news comes out, I just feed it into the AI and just say, you know, how are things looking? Where are things at? And it's more just be curious to see how well it predicts the stock. And it basically said we're at the point where now, if the redomicile occurs and everything they said, this could potentially take off, because one of the biggest concerns is how do they fund all this? But they have on the ground antimony that's available, as well as they now have on the ground gold that's pretty easy to mine. So the ability to get off the ground and running and generate revenues is probably a lot higher than most people assume. So it's one of those ones that until they can prove it cash wise, it's not going to take off. But it's just interesting to feed stuff like this into the AI, and you know, you can break down a pretty large article very quickly and just see what the context is of the potential for something like this. So this is just a case example of like one way that I've been using it that I think is helpful. But then other times too, like you were saying, how it curbs like its answers. Like I'll just be talking to it about something with like finance, and I'll say like, hey, if this happens and this, you know, and like this was your return, like what would it be over time? And like the first thing it says immediately is like, this is unrealistic and like this won't happen. I'm like, that's not what I asked you. I asked you to tell me what this is. Like, I don't care what you think is most likely or unlikely to happen. That's not my question. No. And it's so you can tell it's so trained to not give out financial advice that like it's hesitant to give you answers to questions. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to know. Like,
And even then, Dane, if you have prompted and uploaded a document that is supposed to follow to kind of remove itself from what it's trained for, which you can do on if you create your own versions of them, it will still do that at times. You know, it's so trained on this that it ignores the prompt and it just goes back.
It gets ingrained in the way it's trained, and it's like you said, it's really hard for it to break from those barriers, and like you have to like continuously prompt it very strictly for it to be able to do it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of weaknesses. I think, like with a lot of things, I think it will not end up being what we think it will be to begin with, but it will sidetrack and become something great because it's already great. It has definitely changed the world. And I think, for example, in a few years' time, you know, now you have smartphones with a lot of apps. Maybe you will have smartphones that are pure AI driven. Stuff like that, I think it can really interrupt the technology that we have right now in terms of those type of things. I can see that happening.
Yeah, agreed.
But NBA looks also promising as a chart. I think it reminds me a lot of some of the ones we have gone through already today on stream.
Yeah, I kind of said this. You know, the one day USEG popped, you know, because they, you know, are finally getting some results from their helium business. And it's like one of those things where when you have some context in the news on some of these things, if it was the EP or something like that, I just think it's pretty positive to know these kind of things. Funny you just drew that line on there for June, because that's exactly when it's supposed to redomicile. So if it was going to project, that would be a good time period to do it.
But also, as we know, inside this gigantic base, you have like 100% moves, you know?
Yeah.
So I saw this candle here. I think if it breaks up above Friday's candle on Monday, for example, and then it breaks also up above the 200-day moving average here, you can try a position. You know,
well, I think how big is that move on Thursday? I think that was I think I saw it was up like 10% or something.
Yeah, that's 10%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there is. I know it's bouncing around. Don't get me wrong. And if anything, like it's early. I'm not saying to take anything with this, but it's still got some stuff going on. Volume's really low right now. So like I said, I think everyone's just kind of waiting. I think it's too early. But like I said, the one thing that keeps giving, I'm really curious when it redomiciles to the U.S. is now it opens a lot of like institutions. The rules change when it's in the U.S. So I want to see, do you start getting heavy U.S. investment as soon as it redomiciles? Because I think that will be the key sign to me. If I'm going to take more of a position trade in something, it would be one like this. And I want to see what it does once it gets over.
Yeah. Look here also, Dane, when I threw the anchored VWAP on from the low here in the base, like the lowest point.
Yeah.
It pretty much like ends on the 200-day moving average. So another one, if you can break up above that, maybe it's a strong sign, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, something to look at.
Johnny, I do got to get going.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much to cover, guys. We couldn't even get to stuff. I know I saw shout out to Value. NutX was up again. They had I think they had another earnings. And I know PBI has been doing well. There's so many of the value names that we've been following.
PBI with earnings also in Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of the value names right now are just murdering stuff. So it's tough to say where some of this ends. You know, SSRM's another one that, you know, I know we were talking about for forever, and I know you were in for a while. There's somewhere in here is a strategy that's a blending of everything we're doing that would just murder things.
Yeah, I was saying to you, like, on some of these names to swing trade them, but treat them a bit more like value style. I can definitely see ways you will get burnt on it, but if a couple works, I assume that will take care of the losers like in the rest, you know. But let's say you see some, let's say use GME then. I don't know the fundamentals on GME right now or anything like that, but if you want to get in here now and you saw the breakout, maybe just buy it and don't set a stop loss, and then if you are correct, it will benefit you a lot for the next, like a longer term horizon, but still swing trading.
Not setting a stop loss is not financial advice, just so you know.
We something I used to do though.
Yes, I know. I did it too, and I do not recommend that idea of
Look,
letting it
I will
rise.
show you. I will show you exactly where I didn't put the stop loss. Hold on, I have it here.
Don't
On
remind me.
multiple occasions. Here I didn't set a stop loss. I woke up the next morning. Here I didn't set a stop loss. I woke up the next morning here.
I don't know if a stop loss would have helped you there.
No, true, but still, like, I didn't care about it at all.
But yes, I've rode things down way longer than I should have. I'll tell you that. But that's part of you living and you learn.
Yeah. All right. No, thanks you, Nashkar, for tuning in and asking some questions. I hope you can find a way to still do what you have done and find like a way around to make it scalable, like in some kind of way, because I know you've been doing it for a long time, so I hope you will figure it out.
Yeah, NASCAR. And if you are struggling with the pre-market stuff, even where you pointed, one of the areas I've really been watching is that midday intra kind of move where it kind of breaks above VWAP. And I've seen some strong ways to scalp during those periods, as well as if you hold till end of day on some of them, because I'm assuming you're not holding overnight based on everything I've heard from you ever say. But I've seen, you know, if it breaks above VWAP and shows good strength and it's kind of bouncing off the averages, you can hold till end of day on some of those and make, you know, really good profit each day. So just something to consider, because I've been tracking, you know, basically the entire intraday and seeing where the peaks are. And, you know, I was talking to Johnny about this before, and I think there's a lot of knowledge in doing that. I think you'll start to see things that the average person probably doesn't recognize.
Yeah. But no, a lot of exciting groups, a lot of exciting, you know, opportunities, and like to summarize a bit, like we see on the earnings that has come out, I see people are talking about like this is going to be a lockout rally and stuff like that, and that can happen. It's already is for some people, you know.
Stella out. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back.
So it will be interesting to see, but the market seems to doesn't want to go down a lot, at least. And you know, if you're also going to get more news coming out from the Iran war that are positive.
Sorry, the whole family's joining the stream.
Need to teach them when they are kids, you know.
Sorry, what did you say?
So you need to teach them when they are kids to understand charts.
Yeah, no, I know, right? No, I get it. They're ready for me to be done with the stream.
Yeah, we have to finish. All right.
But either way, where were we at? What were we talking about?
Oh, we're just talking about how strong it looks, like the good earnings and all that stuff, and the SEM is leading, the computer names are leading, you know.
Yeah.
Um, there's going to be a lot of opportunities also in crypto and quantum. Let's see if quantum will participate here, and then the space group as well looks interesting.
Yeah, those names are just starting to give some peaks in there.
Yeah. And I don't remember if I said this on the stream, but some of the uranium charts, UUUU, what is the CCJ, you know, they don't look bad.
No, not at all.
So yeah, exciting times. Let's see. Messy week for me. I ended up more or less break even. I think I'm up 10% for the year right now. You had a better week than I did, Dane, but the last period has just been very good, I think. So
I just keep to my what I'm doing right here, and just keep acquiring knowledge and data about everything. I'm back to tracking all my trades and making sure, and as I track things, it makes me notice other little things. I'm like, I should probably be measuring this as well. So then I'll add that into my list. And hopefully it just continues to incrementally increase, the returns I'm getting, because if I can keep what I've done over the past, like I said, 8 weeks going forward, that would put me into the 100% range for a year's trading, which is my, getting the goal there.
that would be amazing. I just see Nashkar had a couple of comments here. Yeah, I'm trying to hold for larger sustained moves. I was actually in LABT. Within 3 minutes, it was at 450. That's a huge move, but it was a very small position, yeah. But it was another ticket that just broke down after the open. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, you're looking at stuff, NASCAR, that's just like, I get what you're trying to do, but I really think one thing, if I would, offer advice to you, is to focus on stuff with more of a sustained chart, because when you look at something that's that quick, and it's going to be yes, you could capture big parts of these moves, but these things are going to be so all over the place. There's no structure yet to this. I'm not saying you couldn't trade them. I'm sure you could put rules to something like this, but these are really tough ones to hop into something like this, and just know where you're, like, this could also drop just as much in a day on you. So you just have to be really careful with these kind of things. And like, I don't know how many shares outstanding this has. It didn't even tell me the market cap yet. But
50 million approximately.
Yeah, this is something that someone could pump and dump on you, and within 2 minutes you could be down 30%. So you just be careful trading these kind of things. That's one thing I've really taken from some of the bigger traders, is the idea that sticking to the big stocks, sticking to the ones that you're talking about liquidity issues. You want to be in stuff that's market cap wise well over what your amount is that you're trading on per trade.
I just started to think also about when we talked about the space PL and all those. SpaceX is going to come with their IPO in June or July. That's also
That'll be an interesting
day.
day.
Yeah, Rocket Lab, all these tickers, very exciting, I think, for 2026.
We're going to Mars.
I know you need to go. We will be back on next weekend probably. I think so.
What is next weekend? I feel like I'm doing something.
Is it like 9
I might be at the in-laws that weekend, so I might have to have you host, but I think I could stream.
I think also if 9 of May is a Saturday or something, a can't do the Saturday, but I can probably do Sunday.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as it gets closer.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. See you then. Thanks for
Yep,
everyone
NASCAR, thank you,
watching.
man.
And good luck for the next week.
Yeah, good luck to everybody.
Bye bye.